Giddy up, everyone! Today we're going back to the Wild West, where everyone is going to have their pleasure in Thurston. You're watching the Spoiler Alert. Hey everybody, Justin St. Louis here for the Spoiler Alert, coming to you from the Easy Street Den in Old Orchard Beach, Maine. Today I am talking to you about the critically acclaimed series Thurston, which takes us back to the Wild West in 1880s Ozarks, Kansas. Thurston is a small mining town that has been ravished by plague, and the series chronicles the trials and tribulations of its inhabitants who struggle to survive in this new wild western frontier. Creators Catherine O'Sullivan and director Paul Awad have done an astounding job of recreating this period of history, bringing it to life through their gorgeous cinematography, beautiful costumes, really detailed sets, and of course what I believe is one of the finest acting ensembles on the web today. Season 1 just wrapped up this past summer with the introduction of the dastardly Sneed brothers. Season 2 is scheduled to premiere in January 2013, and it will introduce the Sneed brothers' mother, played by none other than the amazing Colleen Zank from As the World Turns fame. I can't wait to see what they're up to. If you haven't been watching Thurston, this is a must-see show. Check out the trailer for Season 1. You'll see what I mean.
We had a bad spot of the plague a few years back. The rail not coming through anymore. We're all but forgotten. Maggie? It's me.
That settles up the roll in the hay, not the gold mine of information I gave you.
He had a dream. He thought he could live amongst savages and remain uncorrupted.
You sure you haven't seen her? I'm sure.
I'm not going back with you, John.
I will have my pleasure.
She'll be back.
Not if she has anywhere else to go.
I'd like to welcome our guest to the show. We've got the whole gang from Thurston here. Why don't we go around the room? We'll start with you, Paul, and introduce yourselves. Tell us what you do with the show.
I am Paul Awad. I am the director and I guess co-executive producer and editor and cameraman and yeah, all that stuff. And here's Catherine.
I'm Catherine O'Sullivan, and I am the co-exec producer and the creator and writer of the show, and costumer, and craft food services, and all of that.
Location scout.
My name is Susanna Wells, and I play Rosie McGillicuddy, the town harlot in the town of Thurston. She's a fun character. She's tough, gritty, has a nice vulnerability to her. Secrets, mystery.
Yeah. Very cool.
My name is Nanni-Messegee. I'm going to be in some of these later episodes playing the part of District Attorney Stewart. And up until this time, I've been helping out on crew, doing a wide range of things. Sort of started off as a still photographer for Paul and Catherine. And I'm just very happy to be working on both sides of the camera. It's been a great deal of fun.
He's very flexible, that one. I'm Lisa Nanni-Messegee, relation to him.
Yeah.
And I'm playing Jo Maxwell, and she is a woman of mystery, so most people have not seen me yet, but you'll be seeing me soon.
Well, Paul and Catherine, so tell us a little bit about the origins of Thurston.
You know, I had this idea of doing a web series, and I have to be really honest, when I had that idea, I was unaware of the whole community. I hadn't like a few people, I hadn't seen a lot of the web series. So I had this idea, and we were watching something on television that was talking about the heyday of Westerns, and how at some point on television, 25% of all programs were Westerns. And Catherine had this idea of, if we were going to do a web series, why don't we do a Western? And it kind of just went from there. And this was, we started filming less than a year ago, and it's just been crazy. I don't know if there's anything you want to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, I've never actually been a big fan of Westerns, which is funny because we're doing a Western. I like the Big Valley. There are a few Western films I like, but other than that, I wasn't particularly drawn to Westerns, but I thought it would be a cool backdrop for telling stories, and it seemed like it had a lot of flexibility. And then I thought about, well, what are the things that I haven't particularly liked about Westerns? Maybe I can address that in a series and show the things that maybe I wished I'd seen. So that's how we settled on a Western.
Rosie has a strong backstory, and I love the way that you use that story in her character. Tell us a little bit more about how Rosie came to be where she is.
Sure. Rosie McGillicuddy is one of the original residents of the struggling town of Thurston, and she grew up there, and her family was killed by the plague, which also wiped out nearly the entire town, and that's the state where we pick up at the start of the show. And her main focus is survival, and she's determined to stay there. And she looks out for herself first, whatever that may mean, and trading secrets possibly. But you'll learn more about her storyline too in the coming episodes. So it's really exciting. You kind of learn about a little bit more about where she's coming from and her history. So.
We have a question from a Facebook fan. Anna Contreras posted a question for Catherine on our Facebook wall, and she wants to know which I think Paul, you might have already answered it, if this is your first web series.
It is our first web series, yes. We've certainly done a number of projects together, and actually we worked with Lisa on a project before this, but this is our first web series, and it's kind of fun because our previous projects have been self-contained in that you do it and it's done, whether it's a theater or film project, and this is the ongoing serialized storytelling, which I'm finding really exciting because I get to keep working with the actors, and then when I see them do something interesting, I write that into their character, and so it evolves, and I love the fact that we don't have to end the story.
I have to say, that's one of my favorite things about working with Catherine, is she's an incredibly intuitive writer. So as you're talking about your character with her, you never know what you're going to say that's suddenly going to inspire her to write something huge into it, and you realize, oh my gosh, that was just one conversation we had, and now all of a sudden I have a story arc.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's amazing that way, and I think that's another reason why the writing and the show is very unexpected. You never know what you're going to get on Thurston, but it's always satisfying.
Yeah.
And I really credit Catherine with that.
Absolutely.
Barry Dodd, a mutual friend of ours, posted on Facebook, wants to know if you guys are planning on going back to the Indie Soap Awards this year.
I guess that won't be up to us. We hope so.
But
yeah, we definitely hope
I think
so.
even if we didn't get nominated, I sure would like to go and see everyone.
Yeah.
That was so much fun.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little more about the story of Thurston and what we can maybe expect to see. You have episode 7 that's going to be released soon. We're currently re-airing episodes 1 through 6 on the SFN network. So when we last left Thurston at the end of episode 6, Sheriff Nate, who I have a real soft spot for, he had been shot.
He was very
Can
popular.
we expect a new sheriff riding into town?
Can I say something?
Yes, you can say something.
Okay. So, Yeah, well, I don't know if you know the story. We lost Steve just because he was moving away, and we had to escalate his story a little quicker than we would have liked. Like, we had always thought him and Maggie, and this is one of Catherine's, once we saw them on screen together, we're like, oh, something's kind of happening here. But we had thought it'd be a longer relationship, and Steve was moving away, so we had to escalate it. But right now on Thurston, you know, there still is a lawman left in town. He's just not one that anyone likes.
Right. We do know from some of the previews for the next few episodes that when it meets the dastardly Sneed brothers, what can we expect from them in the upcoming episodes?
Evil.
Yeah, do you guys have anything to say about the Sneeds?
Yes. Susanna, Lisa, Todd,
You've met them.
All your characters interact with them.
Or even the actors that
I would say on camera they are horrible. Off camera they are fantastic.
They're little bunny rabbits off
They
camera.
really are very sweet.
Very,
Totally
very
sweet.
fine, upstanding young men and terrific actors.
Yes.
My goodness.
It has been such an honor to work with the cast on Thurston. I would say that that's the thing that has been keeping us on cloud 9 with our 5.5-hour drive home from Withville each time.
Yeah.
And we just chat like junior high school girls the whole way home, just saying how fantastic the experience is.
Absolutely.
And as dastardly as the Sneeds are, I have to say that at some point we are going to meet the mother that raised them.
And who is this mother?
Well,
Did we cut that away? I don't know.
it's all news now, right?
It's all news.
Colleen Zank is going to come on board in season 2 to play Mama, and you can only imagine what Mom is like if the boys are naughty. So
I mean, she raised them.
yeah.
Hey, Colleen, of course, famous as in her role as Barbara on As the World Turns. Huge feather in Thurston's cap to book her, and I bet she was just a blast to be working with.
Well, we met her. We met her at the Indie Soap Awards.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
You know, that was another thing about it. Us just all getting a chance to meet, and we had a nice talk and sort of talked about the possibility of her being on there, though not necessarily thinking that everything would come together to have this happen. We were just so thrilled to have her, and she's been such a supporter of the show. We just couldn't be happier. And we have a really good character for her.
Yeah, actually, the role I wrote for her, you know, this goes back to Lisa's comment about be careful what you tell me as a writer, because it's like a little seed that gets planted in my head. She actually made a comment to me about the type of role she would even be willing to play, and I was like, oh, that's a great idea. And then that's how this part came. So this casual conversation and meeting me at the Indie Soap Awards now resulted in her saying, the Sneed brothers' mom. For us, the Indie Soap Awards, it was so nice to just meet people and be welcomed by the community and have people interested in what you were doing and understanding how difficult it is for all of us to do this thing called a web series. So much came out of that trip for us. It's been great. You know, we have friends all over the community. Yeah.
Well, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us this evening. Paul, Catherine, Susanna, Todd, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing more Thurston from you.
Thank you, Justin. Justin.
Thank you.
You can check out all the episodes of Thurston and catch the latest news for the show at their snazzy website, www.thurston-series.com. Also, visit them on Facebook. Make sure, as always, that you click like. And while you're there, check out some of my links as well at YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. That's going to do it for this episode of the Spoiler Alert. I'd like to thank all my guests for today's show. And until next time, I'll be watching the web for you.